The fork clattered against porcelain like a gunshot in church. Every conversation in the ballroom died. My stepmother's inhale sliced the hush. "Leave," she murmured, almost tender. "You've shamed the legacy." Crystal sconces flickered overhead, light jittering across the untouched flute of champagne at my place. I rose. The air reeked of orchids and disgrace. No one met my eyes, least of all him. My heels clicked across parquet, each step a small detonation. Behind me, the flute split with a delicate sigh, a hairline fracture racing the stem. Years later, that fracture would point them straight to my door. I was 13 when Harlan Voss told a journalist genius leaps bloodlines. He beamed, hand on my half-brother Caleb's shoulder. Caleb had just taken first in the city's spelling bee. I lingered near the flashbulbs, clutching the charcoal sketch that earned me honorable mention. Nobody asked. At home, Lillian glided through corridors like a museum guard, tweaking frames, pruning lilies, reciting that the Voss name demanded symmetry. She delivered it like scripture, measured, absolute. I learned affection arrived shrink-wrapped in etiquette. Speak softly, serve smoothly, vanish promptly. Our estate in Willow Ridge had vaulted ceilings and floors that broadcast every secret. When donors dined, I arranged silver while Caleb practiced violin in the salon. Harlan dubbed him the heir apparent. Me, he called dependable. It felt like commendation until I understood it meant disposable. At 17, I poured months into a regional sculpture contest, molding clay in the carriage house until turpentine stung my lungs. Opening night, I scanned the gala crowd for Harlan and Lillian. They never appeared. I returned with a modest pewter award to find them dressed for the symphony. "Priorities, darling," Lillian said, fastening a sapphire brooch. She never inquired about the piece. I left the medal on the butler's pantry counter. It tarnished beside wilting peonies for seasons. Caleb absorbed praise the way silk drinks light. He never chased it, it simply draped him. Tutors fawned, parents orbited. I became the archivist of birthdays, the fixer of oversights. When Caleb botched his university application, I rewrote the personal statement at 3 a.m. When he earned the full ride, he grinned, team effort. I swallowed the credit. That spring, Harlan commissioned foyer pieces for the Voss Gallery. Caleb delivered a sleek minimalist cityscape, precisely his brand. I sculpted dawn filtering through iron lattice. Harlan barely glanced. Too intimate, he judged. Lillian offered a tepid, charming in a juvenile way. Next day my sculpture vanished. I discovered it months later in the garden shed, cocooned in bubble wrap, marked holiday decor. I didn't weep. I watched pollen drift across the metal like it still craved witness. Long before the night they banished me, I'd mastered erasure. It began with omissions, half-shut doors, skipped introductions, glances that skimmed past me at breakfast. That was the tutorial in my station. The letter slid under my studio door on a Tuesday, ivory envelope scented with lavender and attic dust. Addressed to Ms. Elena Voss in Lillian's meticulous cursive. I slid it open amid drying watercolors. Inside, Caleb's wedding invitation to the bride and groom at Cressmoor Manor. My name typed at the bottom, then viciously scratched out in indigo. The ghost of the pen stroke lingered, a hesitation fossilized. Children's chatter floated from the hallway, suddenly underwater. I carried the card to the casement. Across the plaza, the Voss Institute of Art gleamed, same brass lettering, same immaculate facade, as if nothing had ever fractured. That night, tucking 5-year-old Leo into bed, he asked, "Mommy, do I have a grandpa?" His irises mirrored Harlan's Arctic gray. I paused. "Yes, but oceans away." He accepted the half-truth, thumb in mouth. Later, I studied the invitation beneath the kitchen bulb. Gold embossing taunted like a dare. I could have shredded it, torched it. Instead, I creased it once, surgically, and filed it beside overdue notices and permission slips. A brittle smile. Not absolution inventory. Dawn became ritual. While Leo slept, I spread receipts, invoices, medical charts across the table like tarot. I titled a fresh page, Document. Preserve. Each morning, coffee, emails, daycare drop-off. We crossed the square beneath the Institute's shadow. I forced my gaze upward until the crosswalk beeped. Afternoons I taught virtual classes, inventoried crayons, digitized every breadcrumb of independence, hospital bracelets from Leo's birth, lease renewals, freelance payments. At night the folder grew, evidence. Not vengeance, verification. Between sessions I visited the corner gallery where curator Mara Kane, who once praised my anonymous student work, rotated my canvases. "You paint hush," she said. I merely inclined my head. Hush had been my oxygen. Weeks blurred. I bought Leo's snow boots, repaired the wobbly stool, repainted an old canvas, sunlight fracturing through wrought iron, now fiercer, shadows banished. Another envelope arrived, Harlan's spidery script. A cashier's check and one line. "If you'll allow it, I'd like to meet the boy." The amount left me unmoved, the pronoun did not. I slipped it into evidence and kept building. Saturdays Leo and I painted with the after-school kids. He blended pigments like prophecy. "Your colors breathe slow, mommy." Spot on. Some afternoons I glimpsed my reflection in the plate glass, pigment-flecked, steady, and barely recognized the girl exiled at 21. 3 nights before the wedding I scrawled in my journal, "Let stillness testify." Then I slept. Frost etched the windows the morning of. Leo fussed with his clip-on tie. "Field trip, I promised." We stepped into crystalline air. I locked the apartment, key a cold talisman. Cressmore Manor sparkled under November sun. Inside, tuberose and beeswax. Laughter pinged off marble like loose change. Leo's sneakers squeaked, his grip tightened. Then a tremor. You came. Caleb's bride, radiant, uncertain. I almost didn't. Across the atrium, Harlan and Lillian held court, silver threading their hair, posture regal. Harlan's flute halted mid-lift. Lillian's clutch slipped. The orchestra faltered. Leo peeked from behind my skirt. Mara Kane materialized. "Kid's got her line work," she murmured, nodding at the sketch pad Leo had already opened. He drew 2 silhouettes beneath a lattice of light, my old motif, reborn in crayon. Guests leaned in. Harlan's knuckles whitened. The flute escaped his fingers, exploding in crystal shrapnel. Gasps rippled. Leo flinched, then resumed shading. "He carries her vision," Mara declared. Harlan rasped, "Elena." A single word cracked open. "You ordered me gone." I was mistaken. Shoulders sagged, the patriarch mask slipped. Lillian whispered, "He has your mouth." "He should," I answered. "You tried to delete me. He's the footnote you missed." Leo tugged my sleeve. "Home now?" I took his hand. The crowd parted like curtains. At the threshold I glanced back, shards glittering, waiters sweeping. Harlan reached, then let his arm fall. Outside, wind tasted of iron and snow. Music restarted, muffled. Leo skipped, flakes caught in his lashes. I felt not triumph, but calibration. Snow thickened the following week. Cocoa steamed. Leo drew us beneath a blizzard. My phone lit. "Caleb, they'd like to visit your studio." I let it blink, then typed, "Saturdays, 10 a.m. No cameras." They arrived hesitant, coatless despite the cold. Leo dragged them to the finger paint table. "Watch, green needs more yellow." Harlan knelt, sleeves rolled, paint freckling his cuffs. Lillian rinsed brushes with trembling care. When the session ended, Leo pressed a damp page into Harlan's palm, sunlight through iron lattice. Harlan studied it. That evening the studio smelled of soap and turpentine. I killed the lights one by one until only the mural glowed, children's lattice bursting with color. Outside, playground shouts faded into dusk. Silence no longer echoed emptiness, it rang with occupancy. I used to believe survival demanded volume, pleas, proofs, proclamations. Turns out it whispers, brushstroke, giggle, unshaking breath when your name is spoken. Truth rebuilt what forgiveness merely mended. And truth doesn't shout. It stands, luminous, undeniable. If you've ever reconstructed yourself from hush, this is for you. Where are you reading from tonight? Healing doesn't thunder. Sometimes it murmurs, you endured.